there's another story in Pennsylvania, that is near and dear to the heart of LaVar Arrington, and that's the quarterback battle for the Steelers. Because you got Russell Wilson and you got Justin Fields. And Russell Wilson, we assume, is going to be the starter. But according to Justin Fields, his mindset is not looking at it like, well, I'm just going to be the backup the entire year. Let's take a listen.
I'm definitely, competing. I think, Russ knows that. We're competing against each other every day. Him being out there for me, that, helps me getting better, us pushing each other. So, I definitely don't have the mindset of, me just, sitting all year. So, I'm coming in every day, giving it all I got, and, pushing him to be his best, and he's, pushing me to be my best each and every day.
Anybody get the feeling Justin Fields is going to take the field this year? Because I get that feeling.
Just give it some time.
I think he's going to be the starter at some point this year.
Okay. Just give it some time.
What do you? How do you think? Like, barring injury, do you think this is something to where they go, we need a spark, we need somebody who's going to, add some athleticism to the offense or something like that? I just feel like he's going to get his shot this year. And Mike Tomlin hasn't shut the door on it. Like you said, yeah, these guys are going to compete. Like, I get this vibe that he's going to be the guy at some point. It's going to be Justin Fields.
I just keep going back to the fact that, Fields has never passed for over 3,000 yards in his career.
In
Russell Wilson's career, he's never passed for less than 3,000 yards. Not in any season, at any point. He's only thrown less than 20 touchdown passes once in his career, and that was his first year in Denver. Every other year has been 20 or more. Fields has never thrown 20 touchdown passes in a season. I feel like initially, if Wilson goes in and they play and they win and he's playing well, I don't see how Justin Fields sees the field unless there's a package for him to utilize his athleticism. But I don't know. I have a hard time with Arthur Smith calling plays now, the personnel that they have. I don't know. I guess I got to see it to believe it.
No, I agree with you. I agree with that sentiment. But I also feel as though bringing in a Justin Fields, the same exact time that you brought in Russell Wilson, I feel like that shortened Russell Wilson's his runway. He doesn't have any real space or any luxury connected to a bumpy start, a not so smooth start. If it were set up differently, I feel as though if he comes up short, you instead of saying bring in Justin Fields, you say, you know what, we expected him to have some growing pains. We expected him to have some adjustments, but if he loses games, while he's trying to adapt and adjust to what the offense is going to look like, I don't know that he gets the fair opportunity and the amount of time to actually find that rhythm or find that success. I think there's going to be too much pressure put on the possibilities of what Justin Fields could be. Thus, this conversation that we're having right now is an example.
If they were ready to turn away from Kenny Pickett, a guy that they drafted and seemingly were invested in, I think they could turn away from Russell Wilson at any point and just be like, we're not seeing it. We'll go to.
Obviously, they haven't invested anything in Russell Wilson.
I think that I think that
Pickett, they invested a first-round pick, and there was more significant monies. Denver's paying the bill essentially for Russell Wilson to be there right now.
And can I ask you this as well too? Because that story that came out, I think it was Tyler Dunn who had the story about Justin Fields.
Oh yeah, Dunn Daddy.
Yeah, Justin Fields not getting along with Nick Foles and not getting along with Andy Dalton in the quarterback room and all that stuff that came. You guys would know better than me. You've been around Justin Fields. Did you ever get the impression that he was that type of guy?
I've never been around Justin Fields.
Okay,
I have. I've never gotten the impression he'd be like that. I don't know why that came out. I'm not sure if it was a reporter, maybe a coach, or someone with a bone to pick, or someone was sensationalized. From every time I'd been around the young man, he had never conducted himself in any manner that would make you think that he's not an upstanding, good dude. And look, I could reach out to some of those guys and ask them. And look, they might have their moments. People tend to forget. When you're in a quarterback room, man, I'm telling you, you are like family. You're like brothers. You're in there so much together. I mean, you're getting into the office, at least you should be, somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. every day. Every day, especially once the fall starts. Off-season, probably about the same, but getting treatment, getting workouts, getting a little head start on the film. And you're with each other in meetings before, like when special teams meeting, you're meeting. Like, you're always there together. Offense meetings, team meetings, everything. Doing extra work off the field. Like, you spend so much time together. You're going to fight. You're going to have disagreements. People aren't going to see the world the same way. That happens. I just have a hard time believing that it was that bad of an environment. I mean, I could be wrong. Again, I've been in quarterback rooms before where you had people who are polar opposites. And you know, it's funny. Like, comedy tends to be the one thing that always brings and unites people. Which, I mean, I'm not trying to get off on a tangent, but it feels like right now in our society there's a little bit of that going on, right? But anytime I was around him, I never could have seen him. You know, I guess I should say he always was the type of guy that you'd want as a leader, the one saying the right things, doing the right things. So that was very surprising to read.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird story that came out. And like when you factor in and think about the fact that all of his teammates, like majority of them, wanted him back last year. Like they were all pounding the table like, we want him back. He's our guy. We love Justin Fields. And then this story comes out to where, you know, Nick Foles and Andy Dalton, who I don't know any enemies they have other than maybe Carson Wentz for Nick Foles. Like, like all of a sudden he's like a bad person to have in the quarterback room. It was just, it's odd. And nobody's really come out and said afterwards. I don't know if he was asked about it yesterday. You know, he was asked about his departure from Chicago, was classy about it, said, I wasn't surprised by it. I understood. You know, they talked about Pittsburgh being one of the places he wanted to go to, even after they acquired Russell Wilson, that was still a spot that he wanted to go to. It's just weird that would come out because you never heard anything about the guy.
Well, what are we hearing about him now out of Pittsburgh?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So you don't buy it.
I don't buy it. I just think that when things like this happen, there's always going to be that one negative report. It's like a part of sports. For some strange reason, it just seems like when something unceremoniously happens, there's that one source that says from the inside why it was all effed up. It just always has been a part of media. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I guess in our society and our culture, I mean, we turned it into a social platform called Twitter. Now it's X. I mean, everything is so negative. People thrive. People feed. People enjoy negativity. It's like, oh, Justin Fields was this amazing football star in high school, did a reality TV show, goes to college, ends up transferring, has an amazing career, finished out at Ohio State. The high draft pick goes to Chicago. Oh, wait, it didn't work. It's horrible how it went. Well, here's why it didn't go well. Somebody's going to give you a reason as to why it didn't go well. And that's how media works. So I'm not surprised by it, but would I judge Justin Fields off of that? Would I have a notion towards him? I've never met him, don't know who he is outside of what I've seen of him as a football player. But I would not presume that that's who he is based off of a report, unless there was real. Is there a quote from Foles? Is there a quote from these guys? No. Exactly. If there's a quote from the players saying it, then there's validity in my estimation. If it's not coming, if that didn't come as a direct quote from one of those guys that were in that room, then to me it's just, you know, it's fake news to me.